Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever woken up and thought, today is the day I change my life, only to find yourself stuck in the same old routine by noon? You're not alone. We all want transformation, but let's be real. Most of us are waiting for motivation to strike, and that's the biggest mistake you can make. Because here's the truth, motivation is garbage. You don't need it. What you need is action. The difference between the people who succeed and the people who stay stuck, it's not talent, it's not luck, it's the ability to push themselves every single day, even when they don't feel like it. So what's the one thing you need to do every day to transform your life? You need to take control of your decisions, because your life is just a series of decisions. And if you make better ones, small, consistent ones, everything changes. Let's break this down. Step 1, stop waiting to feel like it. You will never feel ready. Your brain is wired to protect you, to keep you safe in your comfort zone. That's why when you think about starting that business, getting in shape, or fixing that relationship, doubt creeps in. But guess what? Doubt is a liar. That's where the 5-second rule comes in. The moment you feel yourself hesitating, count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go! Take action before your brain talks you out of it. Get out of bed, make the call, hit the gym, do the thing. Step 2, win the first hour of your day. If you want to transform your life, you start by transforming your mornings. Stop grabbing your phone the second you wake up. Instead, set an intention. Move your body. Get your mind right. Because if you win the morning, you win the day. Step 3, keep promises to yourself. You wouldn't break a promise to a friend, right? So why do you break promises to yourself? If you say you're going to wake up early, do it. If you say you're going to write that book, start today. Confidence isn't built by being perfect. It's built by keeping promises to yourself. Step 4, take one small step every day. You don't have to change your life overnight. Just take one small step in the right direction, one push-up, one phone call, one healthy meal. The secret to success isn't magic, it's momentum. Small actions, repeated daily, create unstoppable progress. Final thought, the future you is watching. Every single day, you have 2 choices. Stay the same or take control. The version of you 5 years from now, they're watching, and they're either thanking you or wishing you had started today. So the question is, what will you do today to transform your life? Most people go through life waiting for the perfect moment. They think that once they feel ready, once they have enough motivation, they'll finally take action. But the truth is, that moment never comes. The idea that you need to feel ready before you take action is one of the biggest lies keeping people stuck. It's why so many dreams go unfulfilled, why so many people stay in the same place year after year, watching others succeed while they wait for the right time to start. What if I told you that motivation is not what drives action, but that action is what creates motivation? Think about the last time you procrastinated on something important. Maybe it was a workout, a difficult conversation, or working on a passion project. You sat there telling yourself you just didn't feel like doing it. Maybe you waited for inspiration to strike, hoping that if you just gave it a little more time, you'd suddenly feel ready. But what happened? Nothing, because the longer you waited, the harder it became to take action. This is what most people don't understand. Your brain is wired to resist change. It's designed to keep you comfortable, to avoid anything that feels uncertain or difficult. That's why when you think about doing something that requires effort, whether it's starting a business, making healthier choices, or stepping out of your comfort zone, you feel resistance. Your mind starts coming up with excuses. I'm too tired. I don't have enough time. What if I fail? And before you know it, you've talked yourself out of it. Now here's where things shift. The people who succeed in life, the ones who make real progress, understand that waiting to feel ready is a losing game. Instead of waiting for motivation, they create it through action. And once you understand this, everything changes. Because when you take action, even when you don't feel like it, you build momentum. Think about a car at a complete stop. If you try to push it, it's going to feel heavy, difficult, almost impossible to move. But if you keep pushing slowly but surely, it starts rolling forward. And once it's moving, it becomes easier to keep going. That's exactly how action works. The hardest part is getting started. But once you take that first step, you create movement. And movement generates energy. It creates motivation. This is why the most successful people in any field don't rely on feeling motivated. They rely on discipline. They know that action leads to results, and results lead to motivation. And the more you act, the more confident you become. Because confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build by proving to yourself that you're capable. Let's say you want to start working out, but you don't feel like it. Instead of waiting for motivation, you commit to 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. That's it. You put on your shoes, do a few stretches, maybe walk around the block. What happens next? Most of the time, you'll keep going. That small action kickstarts momentum, and before you know it, you've finished a full workout. But even if you stop after 5 minutes, you've won because you showed up, you took action, and that builds trust in yourself. Now apply this to any area of your life. You want to start a business? Don't wait for the perfect plan. Start by writing down one idea. Make one call. Research one thing. You want to fix your finances? Don't wait until you have more money. Start by saving $1 today. The action itself may seem small, but the impact is huge because it shifts your mindset. You go from being someone who thinks about change to someone who actually takes action. And let's be real. There will be days when you won't feel like doing anything. Days when the last thing you want to do is take action. And that's when you need to push through the most, because every time you follow through, you're proving to yourself that you can do hard things. And every time you take action, you make it easier to take action again. If you look at the most successful people, you'll notice something. They don't always feel like doing the work, but they do it anyway. They don't wait for motivation. They start before they're ready, because they know that movement creates momentum, and momentum creates change. Most people believe that change happens in one big dramatic moment. They think that one decision, one opportunity, or one breakthrough will transform their lives overnight. But the truth is, real change doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens in the small, seemingly insignificant choices you make every single day. It's the little things you do consistently that determine where you end up. Think about the most successful people in the world, the top athletes, the best entrepreneurs, the most disciplined individuals. None of them got to where they are because of one massive decision. They got there because of the daily habits they committed to. They mastered the power of consistency. Because success isn't about what you do occasionally. It's about what you do every single day, even when no one is watching. If you want to transform your life, start by looking at your daily habits. What do you do when you first wake up? Do you grab your phone and scroll through social media, or do you take a moment to set an intention for the day? Do you hit the snooze button and delay getting up, or do you get out of bed immediately and take control of your morning? These small decisions may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they add up. Every time you make a choice, you are reinforcing a pattern, and those patterns shape your reality. Most people underestimate the power of small, consistent actions because they don't see instant results. They go to the gym once, don't see any changes, and quit. They eat healthy for a few days, don't see a difference, and give up. They start a new habit, don't feel immediate success, and assume it's not working. But transformation isn't immediate, it's cumulative. Just like drops of water can carve through rock over time, your small daily actions compound into massive change. This is why the best way to build a new habit is to start small. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire life in one day, commit to something so simple that it's impossible to fail. Want to start exercising? Do one push-up. Want to read more? Read one page. Want to improve your mindset? Write down one thing you're grateful for. It may seem like nothing at first, but over time, these small habits will create momentum. And once you build momentum, you become unstoppable, because every time you follow through on a small habit, You're proving to yourself that you can do it. You're building trust in yourself. And the more you trust yourself, the more you're willing to take bigger actions. This is how confidence is built. Not by waiting for it to magically appear, but by taking small, consistent steps that reinforce your belief in yourself. Now, the reason most people struggle with consistency is that they think they need to feel motivated to take action. They wait for inspiration. They wait for the perfect moment. But the truth is, motivation is unreliable. It's not always there when you need it. And if you rely on motivation, you'll never be consistent. That's why discipline is more important than motivation, because discipline is what keeps you moving forward when motivation fades. The key to building discipline is to stop giving yourself time to overthink. The moment you start thinking about doing something, your brain will come up with excuses. It will try to talk you out of it. That's why the best way to take action is to move before your mind has a chance to hesitate. This is where the 5-second rule comes in. The 5-second rule is a simple but powerful tool that can help you break free from hesitation. The moment you feel yourself hesitating, whether it's getting out of bed, making a phone call, or going to the gym, you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you move. No thinking, no debating, no second guessing, just action. Why does this work? Because counting down interrupts your brain's natural habit of overthinking. It shifts you from autopilot to decision-making mode. And once you take that first step, everything else becomes easier. The hardest part of any task is just starting. Once you start, momentum takes over. This technique isn't just about productivity, it's about rewiring your brain. Every time you use the 5-second rule, you are training yourself to take action instead of waiting. You are developing the habit of moving forward even when you don't feel like it. And that's one of the most powerful skills you can develop in life. If you think about it, most of the regrets people have come from the things they didn't do, the opportunities they didn't take, the conversations they avoided, the risks they were too afraid to take. Hesitation kills more dreams than failure ever will, because failure at least means you tried, but hesitation, that keeps you stuck. Imagine how different your life could be if you stopped waiting and started taking action. If you stopped letting doubt and fear control your decisions. If you stopped hesitating and just went for it. The people who succeed are not the ones who never feel fear or doubt. They are the ones who feel it and take action anyway. And the best part? The more you practice taking action, the easier it gets. It becomes a habit, a way of life. You stop waiting for motivation and you start relying on discipline. You stop second-guessing yourself and you start trusting yourself. You stop letting fear control you and you start taking control of your life. So if you want to transform your life, start now. Stop waiting. Stop overthinking. Take action. Make a commitment to yourself that from this moment forward, you will not let hesitation hold you back. Every time you feel doubt creeping in, use the 5-second rule. Count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move. Because your future is being shaped by the decisions you make today. And the only way to change your life is to start making different decisions. Most people go through life feeling stuck, frustrated, and unfulfilled, not because they don't have potential, but because they don't take control of their mornings. The way you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you wake up feeling rushed, overwhelmed, or distracted, that energy carries into the rest of your day. But if you take control of your first hour, you take control of your mindset, your productivity, and ultimately your life. Think about this. What's the first thing most people do when they wake up? They grab their phone. Before they even get out of bed, they're scrolling through social media, checking emails, or diving into the news. And without realizing it, they've already lost control of their day. Their mind is flooded with information, notifications, and other people's problems before they've even had a moment to think about their own priorities. Now, imagine starting your day differently. Imagine waking up and using your first hour intentionally, moving your body, setting your mindset, and preparing for success. Imagine giving yourself the gift of focus and control before the world starts demanding your attention. That's what the most successful people do. They don't wake up reacting. They wake up with purpose. Winning your morning starts with your first decision, whether or not to hit the snooze button. Most people don't realize that the snooze button is one of the worst ways to start the day. The moment you hit snooze, you are breaking a promise to yourself. You're telling your brain that your goals don't matter as much as those extra 10 minutes of sleep. And let's be honest, those 10 minutes don't actually make you feel more rested. They just reinforce the habit of procrastination. When you wake up with your alarm and get out of bed immediately, you're making a powerful statement. You're telling yourself that you are in control, that your commitments matter, that you are the kind of person who follows through. That one decision, getting up right away, sets the tone for the rest of your day. Once you're up, the next step is movement. It doesn't have to be a full workout. It doesn't have to take an hour. Just move. Stretch, go for a walk, do some jumping jacks, anything to get your blood flowing. Movement wakes up your brain and energizes your body. It shakes off grogginess and puts you in a state of alertness. And when you feel energized in the morning, you're more likely to stay productive throughout the day. After movement, the next step is setting your mind. Your mindset determines how you handle challenges, how you show up for yourself, and how you navigate your day. One of the best ways to set your mindset in the morning is through gratitude. Take a few moments to write down or say out loud 3 things you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be anything big, just something that reminds you of the good in your life. Maybe it's your health, your family, or even just the fact that you have another day to make progress. Gratitude shifts your focus. It rewires your brain to look for the positive instead of dwelling on stress or negativity. And when you start your day from a place of gratitude, you carry that energy with you. You become more resilient, more optimistic, and more in control of your emotions. Once you've set your mindset, the final step to winning your morning is setting an intention. What is the one thing you need to accomplish today to move forward? Not 10 things, not your entire to-do list, just one thing that, if completed, would make the day a success. When you have clarity on your priority, you're less likely to get distracted. You start the day with purpose instead of reacting to whatever comes your way. Most people wake up and immediately dive into tasks without thinking about what actually matters. They spend their entire day being busy instead of being productive. They answer emails, attend meetings, check social media, but by the end of the day, they feel like they didn't actually accomplish anything meaningful. That's why setting an intention in the morning is so powerful. It gives you direction. It ensures that no matter what else happens, you've moved forward in some way. When you take control of your first hour, you build momentum that carries into the rest of your day. You make better decisions. You stay focused. You feel more confident and in charge of your life. And the best part, it doesn't take hours to do this. It doesn't require waking up at 4 a.m. or following a complicated routine. It's just a few simple habits. Getting up without snoozing, moving your body, practicing gratitude, and setting an intention. The reason this works so well is that it puts you in control. Most people spend their mornings reacting to their alarm, reacting to their phone, reacting to their schedule. But when you create a morning routine, you take back control. You decide how your day starts, and in doing so, you decide how your life unfolds. Think about this. If you started every single day with energy, clarity, and focus, how different would your life be? What would you be able to accomplish? How much more confident would you feel? That's the power of winning your morning. It's not just about having a good start to your day. It's about transforming your entire life, one morning at a time. Most people don't realize how powerful their thoughts are. Every single day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, your mind is constantly creating narratives about who you are, what you're capable of, and what your future looks like. And whether you realize it or not, those thoughts are shaping your reality. The way you think determines the way you act. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll hesitate. If you believe success is out of reach, you won't even try. If you believe that life is always working against you, you'll find reasons to confirm that belief everywhere you look. But if you start changing your thoughts, you start changing your actions. And when you change your actions, you change your life. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, that's what will take root. But if you plant seeds of confidence, action, and possibility, your life will begin to transform. The challenge is that most people have been planting the wrong seeds for years without even realizing it. They've allowed self-doubt to take over. They've let fear dictate their choices. They've accepted limiting beliefs as truth. And the problem with limiting beliefs is that they feel real. They feel like facts, but they're not facts. They're just thoughts you've repeated so many times that they've become your reality. Maybe someone told you as a kid that you weren't smart enough, and you carried that belief into adulthood. Maybe you failed at something once and convinced yourself that you'll never succeed. Maybe you've spent years telling yourself, I'm not good with money, or I'm not disciplined, or I'm not lucky. And because you believe it, you act in ways that reinforce it. But here's the truth. You have the power to change your thoughts. You don't have to believe everything your mind tells you. You don't have to accept every negative thought as reality. You can choose to rewrite your beliefs. The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to your thoughts. Notice the negative patterns that keep showing up. The next time you catch yourself thinking, I'm not capable of this, pause and challenge that thought. Ask yourself, is this really true, or is this just a belief I've been carrying? Most of the time you'll realize that it's just a story you've been telling yourself, and if you can rewrite that story, you can rewrite your life. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through affirmations. Now, I know a lot of people roll their eyes at affirmations. They think it's silly to stand in front of a mirror and say things like, I am confident, or I am successful. But let me tell you something. Your brain believes what you tell it repeatedly. If you've spent years reinforcing negative beliefs, why not spend time reinforcing positive ones? When you wake up in the morning, instead of letting your first thoughts be about stress, doubt, or fear, consciously choose empowering thoughts. Say out loud, today is going to be a great day. Tell yourself, I am capable of handling anything that comes my way. Instead of thinking, I'm not ready, say, I figure things out as I go. Instead of thinking, I'm stuck, say, I am always growing and improving. These statements might feel awkward at first, but over time, they will become the foundation of a new mindset. Another powerful way to shift your mindset is through visualization. Your brain doesn't know the difference between something real and something vividly imagined. That's why athletes use visualization to train their minds before big competitions. They see themselves winning before they ever step onto the field, and you can do the same in your life. Every morning, take a few moments to close your eyes and imagine yourself succeeding. See yourself confident, strong, and in control. Picture yourself achieving your goals, handling challenges with ease, and living the life you want. The more you do this, the more your brain starts to believe it's possible. And when your brain believes it, you start taking the actions necessary to make it real. Now, here's the part most people miss. Changing your mindset isn't just about positive thinking. It's about taking action. You can repeat affirmations all day long, but if you don't back them up with action, nothing changes. If you tell yourself, I am healthy and fit, but you never exercise or eat well, you won't see results. If you say, I am financially successful, but you don't change your money habits, nothing improves. That's why every time you challenge a negative belief, you have to take action that reinforces the new belief. If you've always told yourself, I'm not disciplined, prove yourself wrong by committing to a small daily habit. If you've believed, I'm not good at speaking up, start practicing speaking up in small ways. When you pair new beliefs with action, you create evidence that reinforces the belief. Over time, this rewires your brain. The more you act in alignment with a new belief, the stronger that belief becomes, and eventually it stops being something you're trying to convince yourself of. It becomes who you are. This is how transformation happens, not overnight, but through small, consistent changes in the way you think and act. Most people go through life on autopilot, believing the same old stories and wondering why nothing changes. But the people who transform their lives are the ones who decide to rewrite those stories. They take control of their mindset. They choose empowering beliefs. And then they take action to make those beliefs real. So ask yourself, what beliefs have been holding you back? What thoughts do you need to let go of? And most importantly, what new beliefs are you ready to adopt? Because the moment you change your mind, you change your life. Most people overcomplicate success. They think they need the perfect plan, the right timing, or some secret strategy that successful people know. But the truth is, success isn't about finding the perfect moment. It's about taking action even when you don't feel ready. It's about showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. The difference between the people who succeed and the people who stay stuck isn't talent, luck, or intelligence. It's consistency. Think about any area of life: health, career, relationships, personal growth. The people who make progress aren't the ones who start strong and then quit when it gets hard. They're the ones who keep showing up even when progress is slow. They're the ones who do the work even when no one is watching. They're the ones who understand that success isn't built in a day. It's built through small daily actions that compound over time. Most people underestimate the power of consistency because they don't see immediate results. They start a new habit, and after a week, they don't see a big change, so they quit. They put effort into a goal, and when they don't get instant success, they assume it's not working. But the reality is, most progress happens below the surface. It's like planting a seed. You don't see it sprouting the next day, but that doesn't mean it's not growing. The roots are forming, the foundation is being built, and if you keep watering it, eventually it will break through. One of the biggest mistakes people make is relying on motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. Some days you'll feel inspired, and some days you won't. If you only take action when you feel motivated, you'll never be consistent. That's why discipline is more important than motivation. Discipline means doing the work it means sticking to your commitments even when the excitement wears off. The key to building discipline is lowering the resistance to action. Most people set goals that feel overwhelming, which makes them avoid taking action. They tell themselves, I have to work out for an hour, and then they skip it because it feels like too much. They say, I have to write a whole chapter, and then they don't write anything at all. The trick is to make it so easy that you can't say no. Instead of committing to an hour at the gym, commit to 5 minutes of movement. Instead of writing a whole chapter, commit to writing one sentence. Once you start, momentum takes over. Another key to consistency is tracking your progress. What gets measured gets improved. When you track your actions, you create awareness, and awareness leads to change. It's not about perfection. It's about seeing your patterns and making adjustments. If you're trying to build a new habit, use a simple checklist or a habit tracker. Every time you complete the action, mark it down. Over time, those marks become a visual reminder of your progress, and that alone can keep you going. The biggest challenge with consistency is dealing with setbacks. Most people think that if they miss a day, they've failed. They tell themselves, I've already messed up, so I might as well quit. But missing a day isn't failure, quitting is. The key is to never let one missed day turn into two. If you slip up, get back on track immediately. Success isn't about being perfect, it's about staying in the game. One of the most powerful ways to stay consistent is to create systems instead of relying on willpower. Willpower is like a battery. It drains over time. If you rely on willpower to make decisions every day, you'll eventually run out. But when you create systems, you remove the need to decide. You make success automatic. For example, if you want to work out consistently, don't rely on waking up and deciding if you feel like exercising. Set out your workout clothes the night before. Have a set time for your workout. Make it part of your routine so it becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth. If you want to eat healthier, don't rely on willpower to make good food choices in the moment. Plan your meals in advance. Keep healthy options easily accessible. Structure your environment so that success is the default. Surrounding yourself with the right people also makes a huge difference. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you're around people who are inconsistent, unmotivated, or negative, that energy will affect you. But if you're around people who are disciplined, driven, and focused, you'll naturally start to adopt their habits. Find people who push you to be better. If you don't have them in your immediate circle, seek them out through books, podcasts, or online communities. The truth is, consistency is a superpower. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about showing up every single day, even when it's hard. It's about taking small steps forward, even when progress feels slow. It's about making a commitment to yourself and following through, no matter what. Most people quit before they see results. They stop just before the breakthrough. But the people who succeed are the ones who keep going. They trust the process. They understand that every small action adds up. And because of that, they achieve what most people never will. So ask yourself, where in your life have you been inconsistent? What small actions can you start taking today? How can you build momentum and keep going, even when it's hard? Because if you commit to showing up every day, no matter what, your life will transform in ways you can't even imagine.